Today's lesson is about comparing quadrilaterals. Let me jump back to this slide. Our opener for today was classifying shapes using a Venn diagram. So we looked at this rectangle and this rhombus, and we discussed how are they alike and how they are different, and we filled in this Venn diagram. I wanted to share with you what we did. One student said a rectangle has two pairs of sides that are the same length. And so we came over here to the rhombus section and we contrasted all sides are the same length. So that's why they have to be in two separate parts of the Venn diagram. Another student indicated that rectangles have four square corners. And so over here on the rhombus, we said they do not have four square corners. That's the difference between the two. And there may be more that you're thinking of. Those are the two we came up with in class. Then we talked about how they're alike. A student said they have two pairs of parallel sides. So I was trying to make a symbol for parallel. And another student said they have four sides, so they're both quadrilaterals. And we took a poll in class, question 1 and question 2. They wrote their answers on a sticky and we put it to the side. And we're going to go through a few slides and then come back and check these answers. So if you'll just mentally answer these questions, what do you think right now, just right off the top of your head? Is a square a rectangle? Is a rectangle a square? We can use drawing to compare quadrilaterals. All quadrilaterals have four sides and four angles. So these attributes has four square corners, has two pairs of parallel sides, has four sides that are the same length. That's a pair of parallel sides, and that's another pair. That means they have to be opposite from each other. And the quadrilateral that has all of these characteristics or attributes is a square. It has four square corners, has two pairs of parallel sides, and two pairs of sides of the same length. The ones that are parallel happen to also be the same length. So that makes this shape a rectangle. And these are the same attributes we put on the flow chart yesterday. All that information is taken and put into a table or a chart to be able to compare a square and a rectangle. I'm going to move on to the next slide. We're going to look at questions that have to do with that. Pause the video, and if you'll just go through questions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and just based on the chart, answer them mentally in your head. You don't have to get a piece of paper and write it down. And once you have come up with what you think are the answers, just check back with me, and I'm going to go over them. So this is what we came up with in class. What is an attribute of a square that is not an attribute of every rectangle? We have to be careful with the words we're looking at. And a child raised their hand and said four sides that are the same length based on the chart right here. Does every rectangle have all the attributes of a square? We said no. Does every square have all the attributes of a rectangle? We said yes. Question 5, is every square a rectangle? Explain why or why not. A student raised his hand and said yes, because every square has all the attributes of a rectangle. He even referred back to the wording of question 4 to come up with his explanation. Number 6, is every rectangle a square? Explain why or why not. No, because every rectangle does not have all the attributes of a square. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. So is every square a rectangle? The poll we took earlier? Yes. Is every rectangle a square? Sometimes. Sometimes, not all. Some rectangles are squares, how we should say that, but not every. No, not every, but some. If you will pause the video and answer questions 7 and 8, and then check back with me. In class, we looked at it and said, we Like we do always, I pass the try it strips out, got the answers, and we turned in top and shared answers with the partner and then with the class. Circle all the quadrilaterals that are squares, and we defended our answers. One student said that shape A and shape D are squares. He initially said shape B was, but when I asked him to defend his answer, he realized that this shape does not have all four sides that are equal. So he changed it to A and D. Circle all the quadrilaterals that are rectangles. The student that gave those answers said A, C, and D, and defended their answer because they said that these shapes have two sets of parallel sides, those opposite sides are equal, and they all have four square corners. The quick check. Pause the video, read this, and get your answer, and then check back with me. The correct answer is D because of the attributes listed in the question. That's it for today's lesson. If you will find the math practice pages and complete those, please let me know if you have any questions.